Welcome, learners. I am really very glad that you all are here. I am Payal Bhattacharjee, PGT Computer Science of KV number 1, Kachrapada. Well, we all are going through testing times, but remember one thing in your life, that if you have 365 days, then you have 365 ways to overcome all the hurdles which come in your path. So let's move on with positivity. So think big and think positive. This is the first session on database management concepts. Database concepts and SQL. This is the first video on DBMS. As prescribed in the CBSE syllabus of 2020-21, it is Unit 3 for 12 Computer Science, Database Management. It is Unit 2 for 12 IP, Database Query using SQL, and Unit 4 for 11th IP, Database Concepts and Structured Query Language. Now, as you all know that the entire world runs on data. So to be a part of this data-driven world, we should know what is a database and all the related terminologies and what are the various things a database comprised of and how to work with database we will learn throughout this session and in the following video sessions after this. So let's learn together. Now, what are the learning outcomes? The contents which we will cover here, and you will be happy to know that after this entire session you will be able to tell about database and DBMS. So this one, and then some applications of DBMS we will discuss, and advantages and disadvantages of DBMS, different data models. We will also go through relational data model and relational data terminologies and referential integrity constraints in details. So let's begin. Now the very first thing which comes in our mind is, what is a database? Well, database is a collection of logically interrelated data and persistent data along with its description. Actually, database system is a repository of the data which is required for an organization's data processing, right? Let me give you an example. If I ask you to collect data of 5 of your friends in your school, then what you would do? Suppose I ask you to collect their name, their admission number, their date of birth and address. So suppose you have collected their data. Now your friend X, his date of birth, you won't write for someone else's data. You will write his date of birth alongside his name only, right? This is here where logical relation and interrelation is coming, right? Next is, what is DBMS? That is Database Management System. Now what is this system? Actually, DBMS is a set of application programs which is used to access, to store, to update and manage these interrelated database, the data which you have kept in the database. So this particular DBMS, it refers to a software that is responsible for storing, maintaining and utilizing databases. A database along with a DBMS, if it's a computer based record keeping system, this is what a database management system is. So DBMS is computer based record keeping system. What was there in earlier days when there were no computers, nothing? People used to collect data and they used to write it on papers. So what was the problem there then? The problem was storing, tracking, controlling and managing the data was quite difficult. Now after the advent of computers, this computer based record keeping system developed and database management system came into existence. Now let us see what are the different applications of DBMS. Now there are wide variety of applications. For example, student record keeping system. As you all know that you give your fees through UBI fee detail, which holds the data of the entire student of the school. So there the entire database of the school is being managed, right? And then inventory control management, personal management system, where human resource HRD departments, they keep a track of all the persons, those who are working under them. And then financial accounting system, especially the students of commerce, they will be able to understand this. And banking system. Now let us take an example of banking system, where you keep the data of all the customers in a bank, and the staff of the bank, the manager and the persons of the regional and headquarter offices, they keep a track of whatever is going on in the bank through this database management system, that is the banking system which is present in the bank. Now whoever is withdrawing money, or whoever is depositing money, or whatever transaction is going on in a bank, this entire thing is under the control of the database management system. Now coming on next is airline reservation system, and one more, that railway reservation system. Yes, and we book tickets through railway reservation and airline reservation systems. And then hospital management system and hotel management system, a few more examples of it. Now moving on, why database? What is the need of database? That is, what are the advantages of database? Now actually database system, it reduces redundancy to a large extent. Now what is this redundancy known as? Redundancy is actually duplication of data. Now in earlier times, when records were written on paper, then what would have happened there? Suppose your teacher has written name of one student in a paper, then by mistake, suppose if he is writing 100 students name, by mistake he can rewrite one student's name thrice. So this is what data redundant is. Then what does that mean? That means duplicate data has come in this case. But when it is about computer based record keeping system, the duplicacy is reduced. Why? Because whenever in a computer based record keeping system you are trying to add a duplicate data immediately this DBMS will tell you you are not supposed to keep a redundant data or a duplicate data which already exists in the database. Moving on, database systems control data consistency. That is, it controls the data inconsistency to a large extent. That means they keep the data consistent. For example, what is this consistency known as? I am giving you an example and you will understand what is this consistency. Suppose a student gets transferred from a school. Now in that school, the student record keeping system, which is having its record in the office, now that particular record is also there in library and in other departments. Now though the student has taken transfer, his name has been struck from the office data, but his name is still being shown in the library data of the school. So here comes that the data is inconsistent. That means the data is not stable. It shouldn't be like this, right? Because the student has already taken transfer, so his data must not be there in any of the database where it is being shared in that record keeping system. So but if we have computer based record keeping system, then this inconsistency will be controlled to a large extent. There will be propagating updates and propagating deletes. That means a cascading effect will be there. That is, if the student gets transferred and his name is deleted from the office, his name will be removed from library, from other departments also, everything. So the data becomes consistent in this way. Data facilitates sharing of data. Naturally, you know this, that very easily we can share the data from the database, because if the database is kept at one place, so that we can share through the network. Databases enforce standards led by organization or company. Yes, a particular standard is led by an organization, and that standard is maintained throughout wherever that particular database is being enforced. Centralized databases can ensure data security as well as data privacy. Now what is this centralized databases? Centralized databases, if suppose the data is kept at one place, then that particular data is kept secured and private. That is, to what extent and to how much extent the data will be shared. This is data security and privacy. So data security means only authenticated users, those who have the privilege, they can only use this database. This is what data security is. That is, he or she has to give the password. So if that person is having the permission, then only he or she can use the database. And data privacy is that to what extent the data of any person will be shared. Like the manager of a company or a bank has the data of almost all his employees, but does he share everything with others? No, right? So that means data is kept private. Now moving on, integrity. Now what is this integrity? Integrity is, suppose I give you one pen and you break that pen, or maybe you bend that pen or distort that pen structure. So pen, you know, okay, the one with which you write. So if you distort that pen, that means the originality of that particular thing has been disturbed. That means the pen has lost its integrity. Similarly, suppose the original data, you are sending it to someone, and in between a third person distorts the data and changes the data and sends something else to the receiver, that means the originality of the data has been lost, that means the integrity is lost. But database, a computer based record keeping system, it maintains the integrity of the database. Example is, suppose an invalid date, like a person is giving date of birth or date of joining as 30th December, 31st November, right? So 31st November doesn't exist. That's what. So integrity is lost. So always remember, these are the advantages of database. That is, database system reduces data redundancy, controls data inconsistency, facilitates sharing of data, enforces standards, and ensures data security and privacy, and also maintains integrity. Moving on. Now, if the data is having advantage, the data must be having some disadvantage. Now, what are the disadvantages of database? The disadvantages of database is, without good controls, a database may be compromised over security and integrity issues. Suppose the database is not having a good command and not having good secured system, then the database is highly insecure. So secondly, if database system becomes very complex, or the performance overhead on the database is huge, or the database is such a huge thing which may require extra hardware. So these are all the disadvantages of a database. These are few situations where the database can be disadvantageous, but otherwise database, a computer based record keeping system, is always advantageous. So moving on. Now, different data models. Data model is what? Data model is actually a concept, a set of concepts to describe the structure of a database, how the database will look like, how the data is being stored in a database, and the constraints that the database should obey. These are what kept in a data model. There are many types of data models: relational data model, network data model, hierarchical data model, object oriented data model. Since these are not there in your syllabus, we will focus on only relational data model. This is there in your syllabus, and we will focus on only relational data model. So what is a relational data model? Relational data model is organized into tables, a tabular structure where rows will be there and columns will be there. A table having rows and columns, that table is known as relation. So a row in a table represents a relationship among a set of values, right? So the relational data model is organized into tables, and the table is also known as a relation. A row in a table represents relationship among a set of values, and since a table is a collection of such relationships, it is generally referred to using the mathematical term relation, from which the relational data model has derived its name. So let us see what are the different terminologies we have in relational data model. The first term, relation. Now what is a relation? A relation is actually a table which stores logically related data, and a data must be atomic in cell. All rows of this table are distinct, and ordering of rows and columns is immaterial. So whether you are keeping the first row at the last or in the third, doesn't matter. And columns also, whatever you are storing in a field. Now what is a domain? Domain is a pool of values from which the actual values appearing in a particular column are drawn. Tuple a row of a relation, a row, this horizontal thing, these are rows. The horizontal things are rows and the vertical columns are attributes, fields. And what is degree? The total number of attributes in a table or in a relation is degree, and total number of tuples or records in a relation is cardinality. So let us understand this very well using this example which I have given for all of you. Now let us take the example of this particular thing where DEPT is the relation and this is the entire table. Relation means a table. So this is DEPT table where I have given 3 columns: department number, DName and location. DEPT NO, DName and location. So there are 3 attributes. This is the first attribute, or you can say this is the first field or first column. This is the second field or second column or second attribute. Similarly, location is the third field or third attribute, or we can say third column. Now degree is what? Total number of attributes. Yes, you are correct. Here what is the degree? 3 is the degree for this, since there are 3 columns. So for this particular DEPT relation, 3 is the degree. Now what are tuples? Tuples are the rows within a relation. This is the first row, 10 IT Mumbai. This is the second row, 20 sales Delhi. This is the third row, or record also you can say, or you can say tuples also, 30 marketing Mumbai and 40 finance Kolkata. This is the fourth row or record, or you can say a tuple. And what is cardinality? So cardinality is total number of rows in a table. Remember one thing, we don't count the heading as a record. Do you count this? Do you count the heading which is given in a register also? No, right? So what is the cardinality? That is total number of records in a table. So according to this table DEPT, the cardinality of this table is 4. Now domain, let us understand domain from the example of this location column. The location column can take any value from a city. So this is the domain, the pool of values from which the actual values for a given column are drawn. For this particular location column, you are picking up values from this domain. So this is what domain is, right? So moving on, some more terminology: primary key, candidate key, alternate key and foreign key. Now what is a primary key? Let us understand this. Primary key refers to a set of one or more attributes, that means one or more column combinations that can uniquely identify tuples within the relation. Before I tell you about the terminologies primary key, candidate key, alternate key, let me give you one example scenario. Let us consider that in your class teacher asks on the very first day who wants to become the class monitor. Now 5 students out of 40 students, they raise their hand and they say that yes, we are the candidates for the class monitor position. So now these 5 students are the candidate key, you can say. They are the candidate for the primary monitor position. So out of these 5, all of the 5 students are very good, well behaved, and they have all the good attributes which one primary monitor, the first monitor, should have. Now out of these 5 candidates, the teacher chooses one as the primary key. Now what is the left 4 students are still left from the candidates. So out of that 40, where 5 are candidates for the class monitor position, for which 1 student is chosen as the class monitor, so the rest 4 are the alternate class monitors. So now you can better understand what is primary key, candidate key and alternate key. Now let us understand one by one. Primary key refers to a set of one or more attributes that can uniquely identify tuples within the relation, and candidate key are those keys which can serve as a primary key. This is the main thing. All attribute combinations inside a relation that can serve as primary key are candidate keys, as they are candidate for primary key positions. Alternate key, a candidate key that is not a primary key, is called an alternate key. So let us understand better from this example which we discussed. Let us take the example of this DPT relation, DPT table, where you can say that DPT-NO is having unique values, it's having unique and non-null values. So this can be the candidate key for the primary key position. Again, DNAME, this is also having unique and non-null values. See, there is no duplicate value for DNAME, but location is having duplicate values, right? So we cannot consider location to be the candidate key. Why? Because see, Mumbai is coming twice, so we won't take location as the candidate. We won't take location as the candidate. Now out of these two, so these two are candidate. So these two are now my candidate for the primary key position. Now out of these two, we choose department number as the primary key. So if we choose department number as the primary key, the left out out of these two candidate keys becomes the alternate key. There can be many candidate keys, out of which any particular column or maybe set of attributes which you choose for primary key, and the rest of the columns which you are not choosing as primary key, out of those candidate keys will become alternate key. Clear? So this is what your primary key, candidate key and alternate key. Moving on. Now what is foreign key? What is foreign key? Foreign key is a non-key attribute. Foreign key is a non-key attribute which derives its value from the primary key of some other table. Now what is it? Let us understand better. A non-key attribute. It is a non-key attribute whose values are derived from the primary key of some other table. Now for foreign key, you have two tables in the scenario. Let us take this example. DPT, department number is the primary key of DPT table. This is the primary table or the master table. So DPT is our primary table, where DPT-NO is the primary key. Now you create another table. Now EMP table, that is for the employees. This is known as foreign table or detail table. Now why this is known as foreign table? Now let us see what is there in EMP table. EMP table has employee number, e-name, job, sal, hire date and department number. Now see, EMP-NO is the primary key of EMP table, right? So if EMP number is the primary key of EMP table and DPT-NO is the primary key of DPT table, then see, this primary key DPT-NO has been taken in EMP table. So over here, this one, this is the foreign key. This key, which is a primary key of another table DEPT, becomes the foreign key in the foreign table. So this is the master table and this is the foreign table. Always the primary table or the master table is created first. Now let us understand what is referential integrity. Referential integrity is actually a system of rules that DBMS uses to ensure that relationships between the records, between the rows or tuples in any two related tables are valid, any two or more tables are valid, and that users don't accidentally or intentionally delete or change related data. Now what is this referential integrity constraint? Constraint meaning condition. You are putting some conditions on the tables. Now let us understand by the example DEPT and EMP table. There are some conditions set for referential integrity. First is the matching field from the primary table is a primary key or has unique index. Related field have same data type, and both table must belong to the same database obviously, and referential integrity cannot be enforced for linked table from database in another format. Okay, so these are the conditions. Now what are the rules? Rules for referential integrity constraints is you cannot enter a value in the foreign key field of the related table that does not exist in the primary key of the primary table. You cannot delete a record from a primary table if matching records exist in a related table. Now let us see the first one. The first one is you cannot enter a value in the foreign key field. You cannot enter a value in the foreign key field which does not exist in the primary table. Let us try to enter a value, suppose 50 in the EMP table. Suppose you are entering another record, employee number 1004, e-name Ajay, job, sal, hire date and department number 50, but 50 doesn't exist. So you are breaking the rule. This is the first rule. The second one says you cannot delete a record from a primary table if matching records exist in a related table. That means, let us take the example of 20. So 20, you cannot delete 20 from here since you are using 20 over here. You are using an employee's department number 20, so you cannot delete this particular record. And the third one says you cannot change a primary key value in the primary table if that record has related records in the foreign key field. So you cannot change a primary key value in the primary table. So suppose 30 you are using in EMP table, right? So now suppose if you want to change 30 over here in the primary table as 60, you cannot do that. Why you cannot do that? Because you have used that value as the foreign key value in the foreign table. So you cannot modify this value. If suppose there is no one from department number 30, then you can modify. For example 40, there is no one 40 over here. So you can modify the value 40 in the primary table. But if that value exists in the foreign table, you cannot modify in the primary table. So this is all about referential integrity. And what we have learned about different terminologies: primary key, candidate key, alternate key, foreign key, and very important terminologies: relation, domain, tuple, record or row, attribute, field or column, degree, cardinality. I hope you have understood the concepts, the basic concepts of database. So remember one thing, that education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. Stay safe, stay aware, stay healthy, stay alert. and stay positive. Thank you for your patient hearing.